My name is Brian Rosebrook, and today I want to show you some tips and tricks to using a ViewSonic board. Recently, myself and some colleagues have received these boards and have received zero training on how to use these boards. So I've explored and I've come up with some tips and tricks to get you using these in your classroom as soon as possible. First things first, we're going to go ahead and go over the home page. When you get this plugged in and everything's all set and you turn it on, this is what you see. In the upper right hand corner, you're going to see the date and the time. If you go ahead and you click on that, you're going to be able to change whatever you need to change. You can go ahead and set the date, set the time zone, etc. In order to then get back to your home page, in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you can go ahead and you can select the home button. There's a little picture of a home, and that'll take you right back to where we started. In the bottom right hand corner, this is just a quick link to go ahead and get you to your widgets, which are almost like apps. So these are different things that you can use within the device, things like your browser, AirPlay, WPS Office, which is like a Microsoft Office. All these things are located here. Today, I'm not going to show you any of these things, but for further down the road, this is where they are. And finally, in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see your internet, if it's connected or if it's not. As of right now, you can see that mine is not, and that's okay. Everything that I do in this video, you can use without internet. If you go ahead and you click on this, this will show you all your local network settings and get you hooked up with that. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about these three things right here. You will see the three main widgets on your front page. This first one is an internet browser. Since I'm not hooked up to the internet, I can't use it, but I will go ahead and click on it to show you. You can go ahead and you will type in whatever you wish in the bar, and then you can go ahead and you can just search. For the middle one, this is a screen share widget that you can use. If I go ahead and click on this, it's just going to go ahead and try to hook up to another device. So if you want to use your phone, if you want to use a laptop, and you want to go ahead and share whatever you see on your screen of your device, you could very easily share it onto your ViewSonic board. Both devices, so your ViewSonic board and the device that you want to share, have to be hooked up to the internet so that way both can sense each other. Once they're sensed up, they can go ahead and you'll get a PIN code for your devices and you can sync them. Now for the third widget. This is the one that we're going to get a little bit more in depth with. This is where we can go ahead and use our board to write on. If I go ahead and click on this, this is going to take us to where we can write on our board. This is where we can go ahead, and I'm going to start off just right off the bat. You can go ahead and write on it. This right here shows that we have our marker highlighted, and that's what we're using right now. But what I want to do is I want to show you all the buttons and everything here and what it does. The first thing you're going to see before we get to these down here is you're going to see little triangles in all the corners. Those are little shortcuts to a few different things. First thing, upper left-hand corner, you can turn this whole board into a grid. So if you go ahead and you touch this, it turns the whole thing into a grid. So if you need to use this for math, if you need to use this for whatever you need a grid for, that's just a very easy trick. And then in the upper right-hand corner with the date and the time, if you want to go ahead and get rid of the date and the time, you can press this, and then it is gone. If you want it back, just press it and it's back. The bottom two corners, if you go ahead and press on those triangles, it is just going to flip these options on the bottom around. So if I press this one, it flips it, so that way everything that was over there is now over here. And it could make it a little bit easier, so instead of walking back and forth to each side of the board, you can just flip them and then touch what you need to touch. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about all these options at the bottom. This first option, the filing cabinet. This is where you can go ahead and you can create a new page to write on. You can open a saved page that you have saved. You can save the page you're currently on. And you can go ahead and you can save it as something or save it as something that you already had existing. This home button right here takes you right back to our home page. This right here is an option. These options help you with things like your background color, your volume, other settings, and even information about your device and even your brightness. So if you want to change your background color, you just click on that and you can select your background color and change it there. After our settings, we see a folder. If we go ahead and we click on this, this shows us all the things that are saved on this device. What's cool about this device is that I don't have to have the internet enabled to go ahead and save some things. There's a memory card right in the device, so I can save things right to the device itself. So right here you see SD card, that's where I save some things. So if I clicked on that, I could see some things, especially in documents, things that I've previously saved, so I can just open those up if I needed to. You can also open up things, so here's documents, videos, music, or even images that you have on your device. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to our marker. So this marker right here, if it's highlighted, that means you're using the marker. If we go ahead and we click on this, you can change what size of brushstroke you want to use. You can go ahead and change the color. And you can even go ahead and change the shape of what you want to draw on your screen. And then if we go to our next button right here, this is an eraser. So if you want to go ahead and if you click on that, you can click on individual lines. So let's see, if I draw just like a few individual lines. If you want to go ahead and just click on individual lines, it'll erase it for you. To go ahead and erase things on the board, you can actually take your hand and use your palm. And if you place everything just on the board like this, try it again. Oh, hang on one second. Let me get back to the marker. If you go ahead and place your hand on the board like this, an eraser will actually pop up. And then all you have to do is you have to wipe just like an eraser. And then everything will go ahead and be erased. Just make sure you have selected the marker, and then when you go ahead and you put your palm down, it turns to an eraser. All right, so now we're going to talk about, let me go ahead and write something again. Let's write our hello. There we go. This next button right here, if I was to select this, this lets me go ahead and choose this and then move it around. So if I were to write something and I wanted it over there instead, I could select this and then just select what I've already written, and I can move it wherever I need to. These two things right here, so we have an undo and a redo button. So if I go ahead and I create something and then I delete it, if I wanted to undo that, I would simply just click our undo button. Once I undid something, if I needed to go ahead and redo it and make it reappear, I would go ahead and click our reappear button. Then we'll go ahead and we'll see three things over here. So these three items right here, if we go ahead and we click on this, this is going to take us once again to our screen share. So if, and it will take a second. So if you wanted to screen share something from a device, this is where you could go ahead and do it. And there it is again. So there's your ViewBoard cast. Then let me just go back. There we go. All right, and then this right here, this little piece of paper, you can go ahead and you can add pages to your presentation. So if I wanted more than one page that I could flip back and forth as I'm teaching students, this is where you can do that. So right now, what I had in the background, this could be my first page. If I wanted to add another page, this is another fresh page, I could easily go back and forth between the two. So here's my first one, and if I need to go to the second, here's the second. We'll go back to our first. And then lastly, this last is just an exit your application. If you wanted to exit this and go to something else, that's what you need to push, and then you can either save what you have written, or you can exit and go to the home page. So we'll go ahead and I'll just click off of that for right now. So this is how you go ahead and you can use your board to write on immediately. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to take something from your computer, show it up here, and then write on that as well. So one thing that you can do is on the right-hand side of your board, there is a cogwheel. If you go ahead and you click that, that'll take you to your general settings where you can choose what to show on your board and what input and output to use. So we're going to choose VGA because that's connected to our computer inside our classroom. And then it will go ahead and it will pull up whatever is on our screen on our computer. It will go ahead and pull it up on your view board. Once this is up here, anything I click is just like using a mouse on a computer, on my computer, and it's going to click it. So if I was to click up here, it's just like using a mouse on my computer. If I was to go ahead and minimize this, it's just like using a mouse on the computer. So we're going to go ahead and have this up. And what I want to do is I want to show you how to go ahead and write using what's on my computer. And I can go ahead and write on these images shown on the screen right here. So what you can do is there are two triangles, little tabs on either side. Both of them do the same thing, but what you're going to do is you're going to select one of those. And what it's going to do is it's going to have a variety of options. The first one is going back to your home screen. So if you want to go back to the home screen, you can select that. The second one is going back to the view board. So if you wanted to go ahead and you want to go back to the view board where you can go ahead and write, our gray screen that we had before, you can go ahead and select this. The next option is going ahead and it's a marker, and that's where you can go ahead and draw whatever's on the screen. So if I select this, some more options will pop up here. And then what it's going to do is it's going to screen capture whatever's on the screen and hold it there so that way I can draw on it. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and underline things. So this is set up like I was going ahead and teaching a lesson with the class. If we were looking at something and underlining some key details, we could go ahead and simply like underline some key details right from the text. So this first option right here is just our marker. We can very easily even change the color of that just by tapping on the marker. So if I had somebody come on up here and write an answer to a question, but then I wanted somebody else to come on up and I wanted a different color, I could very easily change the colors just by tapping on that. The same thing is with the next option, which is a highlighter. So if I need to go ahead and highlight something within the text or highlight something that's important or vocabulary words, I can just simply highlight it, and if I need different colors, I can go ahead and just tap it and it'll change the colors. The next thing is a broom, and what that does is that option goes ahead and erases everything that I've already written. Alright, so if I press the broom, all this will go away, and there we go, now we have a fresh page. The next option would be to save. So you see a little floppy disk here. This is going to go ahead and it would save the image with all the writing on it, and I can save it directly to the device. The last option would be to go ahead and save this to a cloud. So I have not hooked this up yet to like a Google Drive or something like that, but once you're hooked up to the internet, you could go ahead and you could save it to your Google Drive, and that way you can share it with your colleagues, share it with your students, share it with whoever you need to. And then lastly, there's just an X button. So hopefully, you could go ahead and take some tidbits away from this short little tips and tricks training of using your ViewSonic board. I know that I kind of explored and I haven't explored everything yet, but hopefully this will get you started. Thank you.